TF2 update in nearly 8 years, released on the 18th of February 2025. And it isn't even
Oh no, I heard about this. This is good news. They released, like, you can mod the game. You can do total conversions with it now.
anything to do with what's in the patch notes. Valve have just shared the entire game's SDK, the software development kit. And they've given permission.
So now you can use TF2 and turn it into any game that you want. You know that game that I covered, Total Chaos, years ago? That was literally just a total conversion of Doom.
For any games made with that kit to be released on Steam. Just to clarify what that means for...
Okay, he's playing Pyro Main. I'm going to listen to everything he says as gospel now. Is that a soldier? Oh. Yeah, this will be fun.
Anyone who's not too familiar...
Oh, he's dead. Okay, that's good.
...familiar with game development, Valve have created a version of TF2's code that anyone is allowed to freely copy, change in any way that they want, and then release that as their own game on Steam. You, literally right now, could download the code, delete the line that enables random crits by default, press a couple of buttons in the development software.
No more random crits. TF2 is saved. It's saved.
Where to convert that code into a playable game, and then release TF2, the No Crits edition, on Steam tomorrow.
Why did they... I don't know why they actually kept random crits in, man. It's crazy.
Now, any games made this way would still have to go through the regular Steam approval process, so tomorrow is a little bit ambitious. But other than that, it now literally is that simple. Valve doing this...
Elon Musk was wearing a Half-Life shirt. I saw that picture, and it was the only person I've ever seen to wear a Half-Life t-shirt that actually looked cringe.
This now raises a...
Random crits are good. They're fun and chaotic. That's a cope. That's a cope. You definitely played a match 10 minutes ago, and you got a random crit. And that's the only reason you survived. 100%.
Lot of questions about the future of what the community will do with this newfound power, but also a lot of questions about what Valve themselves will do with TF2 moving forward, if anything. As for what the community will do, I suspect there will be two main styles of game that we're going to see start to release on Steam. The first is games based on TF2, but with significant enough changes to make them feel like their own thing.
I misread significant as Sigma. What is wrong with me?
In fact, there's already a few games like this. For example, Open Fortress, a game whose core is TF2, but with so many changes and additions that it is fundamentally a different game. Now, you might be wondering, how can something like Open Fortress already exist if these official tools were only just made available?
That game looks sick, man. That actually looks really cool.
Open Fortress and many other projects similar to it use a combination of reverse engineering and also a very old Valve development code that was leaked some years ago. So not only is the code that they're using super out of date, but it's also a legal minefield. And given that Valve's code was leaked without their permission, Valve have naturally always said a hard...
TF2 without random crits is just rock, paper, scissors? Well, no, every kind of hero shooter type game always has characters that are stronger than other characters. Every loadout, like any class-based multiplayer game. You know, like an engineer with a shotgun is probably going to get killed by a demo man because he has his loadout on his person, not the turret. And then you've got the soldier that just looks down and presses mouse 1 and wins every single time.
No, absolutely not.
Four rockets per magazine, by the way. 4 rockets before he needs to even reload, by the way.
To any projects that they suspect were made using this leaked code ever releasing on Steam. But all of that changed with this latest update from Valve. Not only do community developers now have fully up-to-date code to work from, but they've got the big fat green light and even encouragement from Valve to release those projects on Steam, which of course massively increases the potential player base. And the good news doesn't end there, because part of this new development kit is full access to Team Fortress players' items. That means that when you play a game like Open Fortress on Steam, Open Fortress can see that you own the fancy fedora, for example, and they can now allow you to equip that same hat in their game. Or they could choose to allow you to equip the farty fedora, their hypothetical own equivalent of that hat in their game. Or they could do something completely unrelated, like allow you to select a bonus main menu background of the spy, but only if you've got at least 5 spy hats in the normal official Team Fortress game. Does anyone remember NFTs? One of the main selling points for NFTs in games was sharing items between games. Well, never mind.
I did actually, is this a good time to show off the the next main channel video we're doing, because it is TF2 related. Do you guys want to see it? I think I've got it somewhere. Oh, yep. Very true. Very true. Okay, how do I do this? Yeah, I could probably show this off on stream. This is the we're doing a video on server blight at the minute. I'm probably just gonna show a little bit of it off. I think we got like a little sample we can show to the test subjects on stream. What do you mean it might be another clip? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Team Fortress 2 is a...
Oh, he sounds so gay, man. Oh my god.
really good game. Like, a really good game.
I hate the sound of my own voice, genuinely. I think most people do. If you put on a YouTube video and someone's in the room that's in the video, they just walk out.
I don't like how... Oh god, just run, I gotta get out of here.
Do the deep voice? No.
Oh, look at...
Yeah, I really like this intro. It does go on for a minute because it's like trying to recapture all the old nostalgic TF2 content. I was genuinely worried it goes on for so long that people are going to click off.
Trying to escape, but then this guy, I'm disguised as this guy. How did he manage to get ahead of me?
And it's clear from the way people talk about it that there may never be another game like it. I mean, there's quite a few popular new hero shooters on the market.
What is this?
Like, for example, Overwatch 2, for all 3 people that are still playing that game. And of
The joke is no one plays the game anymore.
course, Marvel Rivals. And yet, to this day...
Dude, I might change this section and add in that Venom mod, actually. That Marvel Rivals Venom mod. You guys know the one, right? There's a certain mod for Venom in Marvel Rivals. It's great.
You still see new fan-made content for TF2 all the time. Yep, there is definitely some fan content out there.
Oh.
And today, I want to talk about a very special piece of this ongoing fandom surrounding what many consider to be a dead game. And, you know, not dead just because it went free to play and invited the horde of paws. I'm talking about how no server in Team Fortress 2 is safe, especially the ones that are completely empty. Before we can jump into the madness that is the new server blight story, I want to zoom in a little closer on
Dude, I thought he was about to do an ad read then. I got really scared.
why something like this is dropping in late 2024, you know, long after the player base of TF2 has dwindled considerably. Don't get me wrong, the numbers TF2 does still manage to pull are really impressive, but how does it do it? What's so enthralling about this game that it's managed to capture its audience so
Dude, I've got so many hours on TF2. I still don't know how to do emotes with other people where you do high fives and stuff. I actually have no idea how to.
18 years after its release? Why is the fan story centering on such a cartoony game so dark and gruesome? Look, stick with me here, because I promise the answer to all of these questions is going to wrap into how I see the server blight, both in terms of story and what I think are some of its clear inspirations.
Yeah, that's like the intro and stuff. You know, it's nothing insane or anything, but I'm definitely happy with it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Mind the fact that Valve already did this with Team Fortress and Portal 2 all the way back in 2011, but Valve have just done it again with TF2 and any game that is now made with the TF2 software development kit. We are literally standing on the edge of a future where the next major metaverse is Putis powered. But standalone fan
Putis
games are
powered.
just one style of
You guys remember like Painless Cupcake and stuff? That's some old head stuff.
game that this development kit enables. The other is improved versions of Team Fortress itself. And improved can mean just about anything. This could be TF2 exactly the same, but with extra bug fixes. Or TF2 with graphical improvements. Or TF2 with just new maps and weapons. Any and all of these approaches are essentially trying to do the same thing: create a better alternative to TF2, the main game. And here's where I see potential conflict in TF2's future. It's an amazing thing that this freedom now exists.
This is something I talk about in Server Blight as well. It's crazy how the game is so old, but it still has such an active player base. Okay, it's not the 250k it was originally at, but it's still pulling numbers in like right now, like a considerable amount.
But this freedom also means that we could go on to see 2 or 3 or 300 alternative versions of TF2 all appear on Steam, all making claims.
I do wonder if they'll do a Turtle Conversion mod though. Like how we had Turtle Chaos out of Doom. Something like that.
About why they're the best version of the game. Now, on the one hand, competition is good.
What class do you main? What class do I main? The Soldier.
Because it generally motivates everyone involved to improve the thing that they're offering. But on the other hand, there's only a finite number of active Team Fortress players. So splitting them between multiple versions of the game, which are all like 95% the same thing anyway, is at best simply going to...
I do remember, unironically, I would main the Pyro the most on the Xbox, and then straight after that, it would be the Spy. But the Pyro was like double the hours. It was like a lot more hours.
Spread players more thinly across all these different versions, and at worst, create an all-out war between fans who are loyal to one version or the other. But with that said, we do have an amazing, resilient community. I mean, look at us. We're here talking about an 18-year-old game which has spent nearly half of its life at this point without any new content made by the actual game developers. So we're pretty good at supporting ourselves at this point. I think what we'll likely see is one prominent collective community effort here, where developers with many different ideas about the future of TF2...
I do like how they released the SDK though. It's like, yeah, we're not making any more content. You guys have some fun. Here's the keys. Here's the little keys to the Lambo. Here's the keys. Here's the keys. There you go. There you go. You get to mod TF2 now.
All decide to work together towards one single overall enhanced version of the game. Whether that does happen, of course, or if we'll get tens of subtly different versions, well, that remains to be seen. And let's not forget that any game or games which are trying to be the definitive TF2 will still have to compete with actual TF2, which isn't going anywhere. At least, not that we know of. One thing Valve was characteristically quiet on with this news...
I like how that Pyro was inside the dispenser and he still had to hit him with the wrench to check.
...was what this means for their involvement with Team Fortress moving forward. The new developer...
EA made TF2. Could you imagine, bro, like the amount of microtransactions they'd have?
...code released alongside a bunch of other minor bug fixes and quality of life features to the game itself. But at some point, Valve probably want to stop spending any time at all working on the game, even if it is just for minor bug fixes. And similarly, they probably want to stop spending any time manually sifting through summer, Halloween, and Christmas items and maps on the community workshop to decide what to include in seasonal updates. 4 years ago, I made a video speculating about the future of TF2 and listed 5 realistic possibilities, which are...
Okay, chat. Be real with me for a second. Be real with me. Thank you, Call Me Lewis, for the 2 months. Do you think we will ever get a Team Fortress 3? Do you think we will ever get a Team Fortress 3? I personally think yes. I think we will. Not anytime soon, though. Not anytime soon. I'm talking like the best part of a decade away from now. Because we know what happens, man. You build up a good player base, a loyal player base, and then you make a sequel. We saw what happened with Payday 3. We saw what happened there.
Which I think are broadly still accurate today. The number one possibility was
I don't think they could do a Team Fortress 3, genuinely. I mean, look at Deadlock.
life support. What the game had essentially been in for 3 years already at that point, and what we now know continued for the 4 years after that as well. Another possibility I suggested was a major update to tie in with the final comic, which of course didn't happen, and now never will happen. But the final possibility I considered, and the one
The Team Fortress comics are actually so goated, though. It's like the Left 4 Dead comics.
that I put the most stock into at the time, was Valve in some way handing the game over to the community. Now, whilst TF2, the official game, is still very much in Valve's hands, I don't think we can really get much closer to
Could you imagine if someone made a version of Team Fortress 2 that was like objectively better and it ended up getting more players? That will never happen. That will never happen, but it could be funny.
the game being handed over to us now than what Valve did on February 18th. The themes of moving on in the final comic somehow hit even harder now. But I don't know if releasing the game's code and giving the community permission to create whatever they want with it is Valve making the decision to never bug fix or never add community items to the actual game again. But this unprecedented release of the game's code being so close in time to the publishing of the final comic after what was otherwise 7.5 years of silence from
Oh my god, bring me back to the Inferno update.
Valve, it doesn't really feel like a coincidence to me. But maybe any decision like that hasn't even been
Yeah, because the final comic is actually that's it, right? Like there's no more.
made at all yet. And how involved Valve
If the community fixes the spaghetti code for TF2 itself, I could see Valve then port it to Source 2, and that could be Team Fortress 3, but not a true TF3. Thank you, Fails. Oh, like what they did with CSGO? That's actually a good... That's actually a really good idea.
chooses to be with TF2 moving forward depends entirely on what exactly the
Did you read the comics? I didn't read the latest one.
community ends up creating with these new public tools. I'm not going to try and predict the future again today any more than I already have. But one thing is for sure.
CS2 port was an awful disaster. I'll be honest, I never played it. I played like Counter-Strike, CS. Dude, there's some dog outside and he's going absolutely brazy. I thought that was like someone on Fent just like screaming at the walls. Yeah, but I never played Counter-Strike. I played CSGO when it came out, but then I kind of, stopped playing it. I never tried CS2.
I'm going to be watching what happens with Scream Fortress this year a little more eagerly than usual.
Yeah, they should release some mods for Team Fortress 2, I think. Some mods for the Pyro. I think that could be a good idea.